Welcome to Passion Inspires. Join us as we explore the world of marketing and design and share insights and stories that spark inspiration and drive meaningful change. Tosha, welcome to Scott Allen Creatives podcast. It's been a very last minute arrangement, and I just met you, and I'm so excited, though, when you explain to me what you do.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited, too. Why don't you go back to what you had explained to me earlier, how you began your nonprofit? Why did you begin a nonprofit to begin with?
Absolutely. So 13 years ago, my son was diagnosed with autism. And before then, I didn't know anybody with autism. I had never met anyone with autism before. And so whenever the pediatrician had said, your son has Asperger's, I was like, huh? What? I was clueless. And I'm like, so immediately the mom in me says, how do I fix this? How do I help him? What do I do now? And so the pediatrician said, I have to give you some referrals. We're going to get referral to a developmental pediatrician, which is going to give you your formal diagnosis. And then I'm going to align or send a referral for occupational therapy and a referral for speech therapy. So I'm like, okay, made all those appointments, but to get his formal diagnosis, I had to wait 9 months. He was on a 9-month list just to see the person for the formal diagnosis, but we were able to get into occupational therapy right away. So when he got his appointment for his evaluation, I'm telling the occupational therapist, okay, all I need him to do is sit still in the chair, hold his pencil like this, not like this, so he can start kindergarten just like his sister. And the therapist was like, okay, Mom, you can go ahead and wait in the lobby and I'll do my evaluation and I'll call you back and we'll see what we're looking at. So she calls me back in and he was 4 at the time. And she said, okay, he has the upper body strength of an 18-month-old. He has the grasping strength of a 9-month-old. He could not cross midline. He couldn't follow the pin. You know, he moved his whole body instead of just following with his eyes. He couldn't stack blocks more than 2 high. Dry heaving when he touched shaving. And the list just went on and on and on.
Wow.
And I'm just going, holy cow. Here I'm thinking, just don't hold the pencil, not the pencil. And it was so much more than that. Yeah. So I'm just going, okay, now, how often can he have therapy? And she said, well, we'll start, 3 days a week, and then we'll go to 2, and then we'll gradually go there. But for me, it wasn't enough. I wanted him to have it every day. And of course, insurance isn't going to cover that. So I went back in the room with him and I would ask the therapist, well, why are you in the swing? What is that working on? Why are you doing this exercise? What is that working on? So then I went home and I turned his playroom into essentially an occupational therapy gym. And he didn't want to comply at home. Why? He's already having to do the work at the clinic. And now Mom wants him to do the work at home when he would rather be on the computer, on the iPad, playing video games, playing with his toys. And so every time I would ask him to do something, he's going to spit at me, hit me, pull my hair, anything to get away from doing those activities. And it's not necessarily, in my opinion, looking back now, it's not that he was wanting to be defiant. It was difficult for him. But he couldn't say, Mom, this is hard work. I don't want to do it. But it was just behaviors, communication. And that was his way to tell me, this is tough work. And I had a French bulldog. Her name was Zoe. She was my little shadow. And I was like, you know what, buddy? I need you to sit in that swing to kind of calm down and let's get regulated. If I put Zoe in the swing with you, will you stay? And he said, sure, if Zoe stays.
Wow.
And I put Zoe in the swing. I had no idea if she was going to stay or not. And she did. And I'm like, okay, let's keep going with this. So I had Zoe stay on one side of the room, had my son come over with me. And I'm like, all right, buddy, I'm going to put this dog treat on your back. And when you get to Zoe, you can give it to her. And he says, okay. So we do it, grab his legs, he does his wheelbarrow walk, and he's wobbly. the dog biscuit falls over, and he says, put it back on, put it back on. So I grab it, put it back on. He wobbles over to Zoe, and he gives it to her, and then he jumps up and says, I want to do it again.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. So from that moment, it was just, now I have to incorporate this dog into everything he's going to do, because that's how I'm getting compliance. And that was kind of the aha moment for Pawsitive Friendships.
Get a dog involved.
Get a dog involved. I mean, everybody loves dogs, right?
But that's quite incredible, though, because you go from defiant, I'm not wanting to, it's too hard for me, to say, I want to do it again.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It was life-changing. It was life-changing for my household, for him, for his progress, for everything. I mean, and eventually I just incorporated the dog into everything, you know. Our logo is actually my son, and it's a Frenchie, and it's not Zoe, but it's another Frenchie I had, which was Jock. And at the time, I didn't use Jock in a lot of exercises because he was a puppy, but I used Jock in other things where I would say, you know, Jock's a puppy, my son's 4, trying to teach, you know, life skills. Okay, hey, honey, Jock doesn't know how to brush his teeth. Can you please brush your teeth? I need you to practice brushing your teeth and show him how to brush your teeth.
Wow.
So it's really just kind of really was incorporating the dogs into our entire life to get what I wanted out of him and to get him to make that progress.
So that was your first aha moment. Where did you go from there? Like, I know now you have a nonprofit, but there must have been some steps in between. What was the next couple steps that happened?
So he continued to go to the clinic before he started kindergarten, and I would start waiting in the lobby, and I'm waiting in the lobby, and I'm hearing all this non-compliance, you know, screaming, yelling back there, just because that's what they do. And I'm like, man, they need a dog back there. Well, why can't they have a dog back there? Because what I'm doing at home is working great. If they had a dog back there with the therapist, wouldn't compliance change the same? So then I started spending a lot of my time Googling therapy dog, you know, autism, therapy dog, autism dog, nonprofit. What does all of this stuff mean? What does it look like? And I couldn't find anything that was using dogs like I was using my dog with my son. So you can, you know, you think therapy dogs, you think hospital, nursing home, reading, libraries, that type of thing, where the dog is just kind of there. You're petting them, you're feeling good, and it's therapeutic, but they're not actively engaged in the goals that each kid has. So that's the big differentiation. And so I'm like, well, if nobody's doing it, why don't I just make it happen? What do I have to lose? I'm just going to help more kids. And so then I filed all my paperwork for the nonprofit. It got approved. I'm like, what is this going to look like? Knocking on clinic doors saying, hey, can me and my dog come in and help your kids? And I got lots of no's. And then finally I got one clinic who the owner said, you know what? I think this is a great idea. I've never seen this before. Come in and talk to my therapist and give them examples and like tell them what you do with your son and like, let's make this happen for our clients. And that's kind of where it started taking off in the clinic world. And then eventually we went into the schools. And then in 2020, we went into work with adults with developmental disabilities.
Wow. I had done work with Paws with a Cause for about 5 years, and they train service dogs, but it's a 2-year training program for that dog.
It's a lot.
It's a lot
of work.
And one of their clients was families with children with autism. So we came up with a campaign. You Comfort Me was the campaign theme for the dogs that would go and live with the family. But it was for that. It was for comfort. It was to help them calm down if they were losing it emotionally and all upset, and the dog would be trained to lie on the ground, and the child would just lie in the dog until they could calm down.
Yeah.
What you're doing is so profound. It's so amazing. Like,
you.
why did we not think about this before?
Yeah, it's so, and it's kind of one of those things, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yes.
And now I walk through Walmart, Target, anything,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you walk by the toy aisle, and I'm like, oh, look at that. I can take that, move this around, take this out, switch this, do all these little things. And now we're working on executive functioning. We're working on fine motor skills, gross motor skills. So it's one of those, you just think of things differently.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, oh, let's just pet the dog and have fun and everybody's happy. We're really focusing on fine-tuning those goals, because at the end of the day, it's to help each kid reach their full potential, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And we meet them right where they're at when we work with them, and then make as much progress as we can.
That's truly incredible. I always find it so fascinating, the relationship of human beings with different animals. As we know, dogs, cats in their own way, own strange way, because I have a cat, so I can say that. And horses, dogs and horses especially, seem to have some emotional connection with us.
Absolutely.
That's deeper than a lot of the other animals, right? It's something.
Except pigs.
See, I didn't know that. So pigs are next in therapy.
Absolutely, they are. I have a pet pig, so I'm a little biased there. But yeah, pigs actually have the intelligence of a 3-year-old, so they're very smart. They're very emotional.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and for the community we serve, sensory and tactile is very important.
Yeah.
So when you talk about sensory, I mean, goodness, petting my pig, the kids, she comes in and the kids are like, she's not covered in mud. Of course not. It rains and I got to be out there with an umbrella just for her to go potty. But they're very clean animals. Their hair is coarse, and it's like coarse and thick, but it's still kind of soft. Their nose is wet and hairy. And then when you feed them, like they feed her cucumbers, then there's that whole slimy thing where a lot of kids are going to be like, they don't want to touch that because it's sensory overload for them, but they want to engage with the pig. So it's going to kind of push them to do what they wouldn't normally do, because they want that interaction with a pig. And she walks in with her little pearls and her flower, and who wouldn't want to play with the pig?
Well, I was not expecting that. So tell me more, because we have just met and I didn't have time to do the research on this. But I'm super intrigued, number one, by all the different types of skills that a dog can be involved with. That is one question I have. Mm-hmm. Like the motor skills, whatever, I'm really intrigued by all the different aspects of that. But I'm also intrigued a little bit by, why do you think that especially children, well, all ages, why do they find that so much more willing to learn these skills because the dog is there? Well, why is that?
This is my take on it. And again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not, a medical professional, but my take on it is from watching my son, right? So if I'm asking him to do something, if his teacher was asking him or his therapist was asking him to do something, they would ask him, and then they would say, oh, sorry, do it again. Do it this way. Nope, sorry, buddy. Try again. Do it this way. And so he would become hesitant to do it again because he knows he's going to be told it. Basically, he's being told it's wrong and do it this way. But if you're doing this activity, playing this game, doing an exercise for the dog is not going to tell you you've done it wrong and do it again. So instead,
that's true.
With us being there, the handlers, the human, the Pawsitive Friendship staff being there, we just let them play the game, do the activity, the exercise, whatever it is. And then we encourage them, great job, good job. Or say, hey, Charlie wants you to do it again. You want to do it again? and then they do it again. And then it's easier for us, the teachers, the therapists, to suggest, Charlie likes when you do it like this. And then you can kind of make those corrections, but you're doing it from the dog or the pig or the horse or, the bearded dragon, whatever animal's there, to get them to make those changes. And they're more accepting of to make those adaptations because they're doing it for the dog. It's not just them and that teacher or therapist.
Wow.
So that's my take on it from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over and over again. And they'll definitely be willing to do pretty much, they would try anything if they're doing it with the pet.
Well, it seems like you've discovered something that's going to be world-changing. I can't imagine people not using this in their therapy for children with autism. Once you discover it, it's like a new medicine. It's like...
Absolutely. Once you see it, it's kind of like, wow, this is amazing. It's really life-changing for these kids, because if they kind of hit that brick wall in their IEP goals or their therapy goals, and you're like, well, how can I get them to that next step? And then you bring this dog in and you bring these activities in, and now they're like, now you can start making that progress again.
So tell me about the aspect of how you have grown since those first days, kind of like the history of your organization and where you are today.
Absolutely. So when we started was just me and Zoe going around. And that first year, we had about 7 therapy teams that joined us. And because like you've said, it's something different. And a lot of people out there that were therapy teams, they're used to going to the hospitals, the nursing homes, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm wanting to do is completely different, where I'm saying, nope, we're going to bring in toys and games and we're going to play. It's just very different. But once the therapy team saw it and they're getting feedback from the therapist, within that first year, I had a therapist tell us, I got more done with my client, with this therapy dog here, more done in 45 minutes than I have in the past 9 months.
That's incredible.
And I'm just going, yes, because that's the same thing I was seeing at home. So when you have therapists telling you that, and they're saying it in front of the volunteers of the therapy teams, then it helps them to feel good going, I'm making a difference. I'm truly making a difference and an impact in this individual's life. And it's just kind of grown naturally. And we were very heavy in the East Valley because we're based in Gilbert. So we were growing a lot in the East Valley. And then we started picking up more in the central Phoenix area when we picked up Foundation for Blind Children. And then we gradually grew to the West Valley in 2020, 2021 timeframe. We started growing out in the West Valley. And then in 2021, we hired our first employee. And once we had our first employee, then the growth was able to just take off from there, because now it's not a one-man show anymore. Now we have 2 employees. Now we have 3 employees. And to date, we have myself and 7 employees, and we serve 2,600 kids and adults annually.
That's incredible.
So that's all across Maricopa County. We're down in Tucson as well. So we've just continued to grow and grow and grow.
So I'm curious now, obviously nonprofits, they're a mix. Some nonprofits have earned income. Mm-hmm. Is that part of your mix, or you?
It is. And I know earned income in the nonprofit world is kind of like, you do what? You charge for your services? But what exactly, right? It's not a business model, it's a tax status. But yeah, we do. We do charge for our services because we are bringing in so much liability. I mean, we hold all the liability and the insurance and all of the supplies that we're bringing in. That's all cost that these schools somebody has to pay for it. And the other thing too, in our world, in the special education world, these schools are getting funding from ESA. And so they have a billing source that they have ESA, the Empowerment Scholarship, that they're getting all of their funds from. So we're not charging an astronomical amount. It's just a very small to make sure that our insurance is paid, that all of the supplies that we bring in are covered, and the rest of that funding, our funding source is from donors. So our staff salaries and all of that comes from donors, grants, to make sure that our volunteers are supported. And it's important to me that we have consistency with our curriculum. So when we do go into the schools, that we have staff in there or volunteers that have trained with the staff for extended time to make sure that those skills are being hit exactly how it was designed, not just hey, let's just play with the puppy. We're bringing these activities and goals in to be intentional.
So you are a blend of
Yes,
income
absolutely. Very,
donations,
very blended. Donations, grants, earned income, sponsorships, fundraising. So it's a pretty big mix of everything.
And how many volunteers do you have?
Right now we have 160 volunteers.
That's incredible.
Yes. So we're about 95-ish% volunteer-ran organization.
So I'm curious. Tell me about the dogs. Where do you get the dogs? Who owns the dogs? Who takes care of the dogs outside of their work hours?
So all of the animals are owned by our volunteers.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that kind of answers all of it, right?
Okay.
So we look for volunteers. We are an independent organization. So a lot of times, like at the hospital, those volunteers, those therapy teams have to go through a national organization in order to volunteer at a hospital or a nursing home, etc.
Yeah.
We do all of that in-house. So because we look for some things that are very specific, like I want to make sure that when we're evaluating that it's not just the dog that is a good fit and wants interaction, but the human as well.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure, so there's certain things that may be a little bit different than what the national organizations require. So that's why we're independent. And I want to make sure that they're going to be good around kids, that they're comfortable with special needs kids, that they're comfortable with loud noises. And all of our assessors are also, they volunteer in our program. So they know what we're looking for, so they can test that impulsivity, that quick jump behind the back. And we hold the liability for that. So we partner with dog trainers around the valley who they'll refer people to us and say, you know what, this dog and human I think is going to be an amazing fit. Wow. So they'll send referrals that way. People see us on social media and they reach out to us, or they see our website. And so it's kind of a mix of everywhere where we try to recruit volunteers.
So I'm curious, are there certain breeds that you have found are better at therapy?
Well, if you ask me, I'm going to be biased and I'm going to tell you Frenchies are amazing.
We need more Frenchies in the world.
Well, some Frenchies are little terrors, but yeah. But I wouldn't say, I think there's not one specific breed that is going to be good. I mean, it's because it's kind of like humans, right? Some dogs love people and want attention. Yeah. Just like some humans are like, yeah, I don't want people. Just leave me alone. They're not people. But just like that, some dogs just aren't people dogs. So it's really looking at each individual personality and kind of see how.
I have a cat, so I understand.
Yeah. I get that a lot. Like people come up and they'll be like, do you take cats? And I'm like, well, if you can find the right cat, not all, I mean, they're out there, but cats just aren't people-y.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I was just curious. Is there anything else about your organization that you would like to share that I may have missed that would be important for you to share?
Oh, goodness. No, just follow us, get involved. If you know anyone who thinks that they might have a good therapy pet, then reach out to us. We can always we do assessments. We don't charge for the assessments. So it's always a good fit because the more pets we have, the more we can serve, the more kids we can serve. So
what is your dream for your nonprofit?
My dream for my nonprofit is I would love for Pawsitive Friendships to have our own property, kind of a farm per se, because right now, Positive Friendships, we do have horses and goats, and like I said, I have a pig that we can work with, but because they are all volunteer based, they're, horses are in the outskirts of town, so you can't ask a volunteer to, hey, load up your horse trailer and can you haul it to Surprise from, East Mesa? Or, can you bring the rabbit from Surprise all the way to Queen Creek? It's not reasonable for ask a volunteer.
Sure.
And I get asked a lot by our schools, oh, how come they get that and we don't? How come they get that one and we don't get that one? But if Positive Friendships had our own farm where we could have our own horses, mini donkeys, goats, sheep, all of these animals, then we as staff could take them all across Maricopa County. All of the kids would be able to have access to these animals that they may not normally be able to see. And we're coming to them instead of asking the teachers to load up their classrooms, all of the kids, bring them to a field trip. We're bringing them one at a time, working on those goals with those different types of animals.
That'd be amazing.
So that's my goal. That's our dream. And it's just, again, bringing all those different experiences to the kiddos.
So as far as you know, there aren't other nonprofits like this throughout the country.
I have not. I get asked so many times saying, hey, would you be interested in expanding to Indiana? Would you be, what about here? And I'm like, oh my goodness, Tucson was hard enough. I don't know if I could handle doing something out of state.
You'd almost need a partner that lives there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That you could train and...
Yeah, and I think what the challenge we found in Tucson was what comes first, right? Do you bring on these schools or do you find the therapy teams? So it's kind of where do you do? Do you have therapy teams that are sitting around waiting for some place to go? Or do you have a commitment to the school and nobody to fulfill what you've committed to? So I think that was my biggest challenge when we were expanding down there is kind of what comes first. In an ideal world, you want them both to happen at the same time, but life doesn't work like that.
But you showed up with a dog and said, hey, we can do this.
Yes, we did. We did.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. It's been great to get to know you today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad Bethany introduced us.
Yes, she's amazing.